Prop 7, this is the great one. You see all the ads about T. Boone Pickens, and then you got the guy who looks like T. Boone Pickens who comes on with his cowboy hat and says, you know, we need to fund alternative renewable energy. Basically what this initiative says is that we have to go to renewable energy sources for our energy purchasing. So all the utilities in the state would be required by 2010 to get 20% of their energy. And we're right now somewhere around 5 to 12 to 15%, depending on which entity you are at doing this. So these would be significant increases. I mean, you're talking about doubling or tripling their purchases. So 20% by 2010, 40% by 2020, and 50% by 2025. Let's get to the right page here. Oh, 7. I'm looking at 10 going, this doesn't look right. This was the brainchild of John Burton and David Freeman, who was the head of DWP for a long time, who basically believed that if we don't act soon, we're not going to move towards renewable energy. Turns out that fossil fuel energy is a lot cheaper to produce. A lot cheaper to produce. And so, the other thing it requires are these long-term contracts. And so there's a sense that we need to move to it right now. And we need to create an infrastructure. They don't think the legislature has the guts to do it. So they're turning to the voters and saying, let the voters demand it. Now, what impact this will have on utility bills, I can tell you right now there'll be more. How much more? I have no idea. You know, in 2001, we deregulated the utility industry and did all kinds of things, and prices, you know, went up by a factor of 600 at some points. I can tell you they'll be more expensive. We don't have the production for these, but it will encourage renewable energy generation. There will be new facilities brought online that will reduce emissions. The other thing this has in it, and this is John Burton at his best, it requires whoever produces this stuff, whoever these entities buy it from, that they pay a prevailing wage. So sort of a living wage mandate within this. So, the no arguments, obviously, there's estimates it'll be 10% higher on average. I've seen estimates that go from 2% to 30%. So we don't know. One of the things it does do is it requires that they buy this. They don't get to count purchases from producers of less than 30 megawatts. Now, wind farms and things like that are in the 5 to 15 megawatt range. And so what it says is you have to be a big producer of renewable energy for you to count towards that 20% or 40% or 50%. And so you'll see the No campaign, which is funded almost completely by utilities, who are going to have to play under these rules. You'll see the No campaign talk about how it kills renewable energy. We know a lot of the innovation is happening on a small scale and then being generalized up. For a producer to participate in this, they have to get their production up above 30 megawatts, which is a significant amount. So their argument is that this will actually suppress innovation in the area because it'll create this huge market for stuff they can't produce. And then there's an argument that that this is too intrusive on the marketplace. This is an overuse of sort of the regulatory power of government. Any questions on this one? We've got one more after this.
So just go over that requires renewable providers to pay prevailing wage market.
This is almost all it says. It just says that providers have to pay a prevailing wage, basically to count towards the 20%. In other words, you can buy energy from other people, but to meet the statutory obligation.